Isn't it what Jesus said?
That's right. That's right. It's so important that we are one body. I spoke that at the rally. The Apostle Paul said that when one member suffers, we all suffer. So we have to recognize those Christians who were killed in the church on October 31st. That was our family. That was not isolated. That was our family, my family.
And I'll tell you what I feel. Every Christian died, Christ died.
Yes, yes.
Every Christian died, Christ died. We need to keep that in mind. If we need to rise the word of Christ, we need to save the Christians, and especially the Middle Eastern Christians that from the first century spread that message, saved that message, worked hard. They were fed for the lions, for the heavy animals. They were crucified, they were burned. They had in their heart Jesus, they had no fear. When you have Jesus in your heart, you have no fear. And I'm not an reverend. I'm a person that loves peaceful people in this world. Pleasure and honor. And God bless. And we're going to do many more round tables.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Open the doors. These savages come back on our I want an open circle in the middle. I want Simone and Tony Jabali that will be reading the names of the 58 martyrs. We're going to go which way? This way?
شلومو Bartmore Sayyidina. These people symbolize
Thank you.
Thank you. A prayer by your side.
بديك يحذين الكين الرضا هاي ملكوت النوم شتريو عن قديك رغد شبحتم ناحي ميك من قبر لصط الشبح يوم وحمى شيح صالي نعبر من القصد موته عبر من القصد موته عمتني يونو
Thank you to all of those who are down symbolizing. We can get up now. Let us all say our Father together, please. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
thank you again. It seems as though the world has given in to brutal violence and disrespect to Christians. The despicable acts of terror on the Christians in Iraq clearly show to what extent people go to silence those who do not share our faith. This has been going on for centuries, and there is very little tolerance left. Man has not become mature in the godly sense. There has been an abandonment of decency, and we have allowed it to happen. What a difference we can make. This is not one small community crying out. United, we stand as Christians. The unity of the church is both a gift of God and an obligation and responsibility of Christians to fulfill the Lord's commandment and all be one. We will not tolerate this anymore. We thank you all for coming today to this peaceful demonstration. Your support has been greatly appreciated. I believe all those who are persecuted in Christ's name will not die in vain. For it is said in the Bible, "Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew chapter 5. All of your thoughts and prayers will be heard by God. Look to the left and right of you. God has given you family and friends to help manage the pain of the tragic loss. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Our prayers and thoughts are heard by God. With the help of our brothers and sisters in Christ, we look towards a future where Christians will live in harmony. Thank you, Reverend Mahoney and Keating, for your continued support, time, hard work, and most importantly, your prayers. God bless you all for coming out here today and for all of your hard work. I'd like to call upon the committee who helped me out. Everyone that worked on organizing this, can you please come forward? I'm not going to call out names. I need everyone who worked on organizing this to come stand forward. Anyone that worked on organizing this, I need you to step forward, please. Without naming anybody, I want a big round of applause for the organizers. Natalie.
Hello, I'm Christopher Keating, the director of Hillside Missions Organization, based in Richmond, Virginia. The focus of our ministry is to establish and encourage Christian community in places where there are unreached groups, places where the access to the gospel is inhibited, freedom of religion is inhibited. I'm honored to be able to be a part of this commemoration, to be able to stand in solidarity, to be able to stand as one with family members, to look at graphic pictures of those who have lost and say, we have suffered loss. To be able to look at those who have died, photos and memories of those who have died and say, we have suffered loss because we are family with them. And to be able to stand here and say, the reaction that we have to this, the difference of being Christian from being something else is that we are inspired because of this to love. That to be able to be Christian is to have Christ in our hearts that comes out, overflows as love. So that we would go to Iraq. We would talk to our neighbor in Baghdad and say, Christ loves. I love because Christ loves in me. Even my neighbor, I love him. And also we come together to say that at the very same time that their lives are not in vain, that their deaths are not in vain, it's also unacceptable that another should die. So while their lives serve the greater glory of God, we also say it's unacceptable that one would die for his faith. And so we come together and say no more. It's important to come together and say, no more should die. So I'm honored to be a part of that here. Something also symbolic about being able to be here to do this by the United Nations, to be able to be here in a place where we come together as international communities for the greater good of the world, and to be able to say that the international community might hear us and say, this can happen no more. The Christians must be protected in Iraq. Religious minority, religious freedom. Other minorities must be protected in Iraq and other places around the world. And where their voices aren't heard on the bigger stage, we must create a stage that they might be heard from. And also we're inspired to act. So the organization that we work with, being able to be a part of the organization I am with, to be able to say, and so we also go. We are inspired to go, and so we go to Baghdad to make contagious the message of Christ's love. We go to other places in the Middle East and invite you to go. We are people with the ability to act. Here, especially Americans, here in the United States, we have the freedom to go, we have the freedom to do, to react and inspire others to act. And so we make contagious this movement that God does, moves in our heart. And thank you very much.
For a peaceful demonstration to ask for protection of Christians, all Christians in Iraq and all over the Middle East. We appeal to the United States government and to the Iraqi governments to help protect the Christians
from the extremist, fundamentalist terrorists. We appeal to the United Nations to pass legislation to help protect the Christians in Iraq. We wanted to come here today to unite as Christians, and I hope we have done that. I want to thank everybody for coming. All we are asking is that we as Christians have the right and opportunity to be able to practice our faith, not only here in America, but all over the Middle East, in Iraq and everywhere else in the Middle East, in Egypt. We have held back and allowed the massacres to continue over and over again, but we will not tolerate that anymore. We are asking everyone to stand united with us against terrorism of Christians in Iraq and in the Middle East. United we stand against terrorism. United we stand as Christians. Thank you.